Good evening and a very warm welcome to our show. A few weeks ago here on First Issues, business strategist, author and speaker Renee Carriol spoke to us about the power of collaboration in helping a business to survive and thrive in an increasingly volatile modern business environment.
No one person can make every call on their own. It's no longer feasible for the leader on their own to be that broad, but it is feasible for the team to be broad.
Having illustrated the importance of trust, fostering synergies and ideas sharing between business entities, we were excited by the advent of two prime examples of high-level international collaboration here in Gaborone just last week. The World Telecommunication or ICT Indicators Symposium, or the WTIS, and the Botswana Investment and Trade Centre's Global Expo Botswana. Tonight we present some of the more interesting conversations we had at both events, illustrating collaboration in practice. Welcome back to First Issues, as tonight we illustrate the winning strategy that is collaboration in practice. Beginning with the World Telecommunications or ICT Indicators Symposium, or the WTIS, that took place at the Gaborone International Convention Center from the 21st till the 23rd of November just last week, having taken place in Japan last year and Georgia the year before. It is a great example of cooperation as it includes high-level debates related to ICT policy and data and brings together delegates from all over the world, ranging from government ministers and business leaders to regulators, national statisticians, lead academics, and ICT data producers and analysts. Among the highlights of this event was the release of the 2016 edition of the Measuring the Information Society report. The Republic of Korea topped the Global ICT Development Index for the second consecutive year, and Botswana was ranked 5th on the continent after Mauritius, Seychelles, South Africa, and Cape Verde. Joining us on the sidelines of this event to share the major themes and discussions from this year was the new Minister of Transport and Communication, Mr. Kitso Mokaila.
It's to do with measurement of the impact of ICT in development. I mean, that is key. They say if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And therefore it's central that you must be able to measure.
Has anything really stood out to you so far in the proceedings? What of the learnings, what valuable learnings have come out so far?
One of the most interesting things about gatherings like this is that it brings all sorts of international expertise to one place. It gives you the opportunity to share experiences, learn from others, copy from others, hear how others have done what you probably haven't done. You must understand that we are all at different levels of development, and therefore we have to apply what's suitable for ourselves at our level. And speaking for Botswana, we've got so many things in place just to ensure that we address those areas. For instance, in Botswana, the key thing is poverty eradication. Are women catered for? Are disadvantaged people catered for? Are those who are in rural areas looked after? How do you make ICT accessible to them? These are the issues that are probably central to Botswana at this particular time. What has government done? Through Bofinet, we put through a fiber optic infrastructure around the country, basically to try make sure that nobody is left behind. That's one of the key themes. It says nobody should be left behind with ICT.
What prominent innovations are being discussed at the policy-making level regarding ICTs?
The issue of making it accessible. How do you make it create jobs? How do you make it create businessmen and businesswomen out of people? You know, in certain instances, the belief is that ICT is going to make people redundant. But on the other side of it is how do you make it enter everybody's life and make everybody's life easier? What innovations are you doing to ensure that people actually see the benefit of it rather than seeing the negative side of it?
What new discussions around ICT development can we expect to see going forward? I know over the years new terms have come into the conversation, such as cybersecurity and others, but which ones should we now become more familiar with?
Well, I think one of the things that as you create access for everybody, security becomes a very big issue. Cybersecurity, because once you've got access, there are those who will want to come in and then go into your systems to destabilize governments. There are those who want to come rob banks or rob you or whoever. So all these issues are those, these sort of meetings, you get to learn about what to look at, what are the pitfalls, what technologies are available. So this is a good learning. As you know, at this ITU meeting, one of the key things was for the release of the statistics. And we are pleased to know that Botswana is ranked number 5 in Africa. And this is great strides. Looking at the size of Botswana, the distribution of our population, and therefore the cost of infrastructure for making it accessible to everybody in the country. I mean, this is really a good showing on the part of Botswana. I believe with time, we can still be better, because from statistics Botswana point of view, our collection of statistics is a little behind, and therefore I think with the latest statistics you will see that Botswana is actually further up the ladder than what we are seeing now.
At the very beginning of this program, we pointed to the symposium as having been a great example of collaboration. And up next on the program, we present you with another example of this type of solution creation through ideas sharing. Thank you for staying with us. As in exploring our second example of collaboration in action, we now share some of the more interesting ideas we discovered at this year's Global Expo Botswana. What began as the Botswana International Trade Fair and later became the Botswana Industrial and Agricultural Fair evolved in 2006 to become a premier business-to-business exposition to attract foreign direct investment and promote trade between Botswana and other countries. Among the international speakers at this year's event was South African entrepreneur Ettiquette, who was keen to extend the collaboration beyond the 4-day event that was the Expo through an initiative of his called Bring Change Africa. He joins us now to tell us all about it, starting from the very beginning.
It started first of all with the initiative. We have a good relationship with people from abroad, for instance the Bransons, his son Sam and Holly Branson, where we do certain adventures together like the Strive Challenge, and it was inspired through meeting these people and their networks and understanding the principles that they do business with, how they see the world, how they apply certain things, and how we as South Africans and Southern Africans and Africans see business ourselves. So it originated, and the thought came from one of the trips we had over there with them. We thought to ourselves, well, if they see the world that way and if we see the world this way, there's certain methodology that should be mixed, right? It's almost like a cross-discipline. So we as South Africans see the way they do business at a large global scale, but it's almost as if there's this cognitive dissonance where we see and believe things that they do. It's almost as if they're walking on water, right? And once you start seeing people for being this untouchables, you start putting yourself out of the game immediately. You start seeing that, if it's only them that can do it. So Bring Change Africa is about bringing local methodology, but thinking global. So you think global, but you use local methodology with local mentors, and you're bridging the gap between entrepreneurs and the businessmen and women out there on a local level, but with a global mindset. And that's how you incubate a new era of entrepreneurs in a country.
It appears that Ettiquette is among those who believe that a growth mindset and passion can be transferred through mentorship. What has given him this belief? What has been his own experience with regards to the effectiveness of coaching and mentoring in his own professional life?
Through my mentors and my coaches that I've had throughout, and having relationships with people outside my country on an international level, I realized that these people showed me certain ways, just small little screws to turn the right way, and to say, listen, if you go this direction, then your whole outcome could be differently because you think things are differently. So mentors in my life has changed completely the way I think, the way I do business, because it's never the 10 hours or 15 hours or 100 days that you spend with someone. It's that moment in time, that one person, one opportunity, that someone just points you into the right direction, which creates that aha moment where you think, wow, now it makes sense. But that's where a mentor or a coach comes into play. And I love mentors and coaches myself because it's always a person that's based in a different environment maybe, but on a local methodology level. They show me something thinking globally, and they say, if you take this local idea, but you apply this international or global way of thinking to this little bit of a little idea you have, you can make it into something ginormous. But if you keep thinking local, and if you stay with your local strategies and tactics, with your small business idea, it's going to stay that way for the rest of your life. And that's what Bring Change is all about, is bringing those things together. And that's what mentors are all about.
Our guest seems to have identified a difference in the way his high-profile international mentors approach business and the way most business people in this region do. What would he say that difference is?
The biggest thing that I've realized is that we look at these juggernauts and we think that this is what they do. But once you figure out and you get the cheat codes one-on-one with them, you think to yourself, I've over-engineered everything. It is not as complicated. First of all, it starts with your why. Why are you doing this thing? Why are you entering this business? Why are you entering this market? Once you've discovered that, anything in your path, all these people that made it, 30, 40, 50, 60 years in business, that just bulldozed over everything, whatever happened, the same thing that they struggle with is the same thing that we struggle with every single day. The difference is they don't care what that little obstacle brings, because they love it. They embrace it because it's an opportunity for them to learn, it's an opportunity for them to grow. Whereas we look at the end result and we say, oh, that's what the end result is. All you need to do is design the best smartphone in the world and become Steve Jobs. No, he had a passion for connecting people. And all of these people, you find the Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates, all those foundations, they give away all their wealth. Mark Zuckerberg, they give away all their wealth. Now you got to ask yourself one question. Are they giving away all their wealth because they're billionaires? Or are they billionaires because they've got the mindset of giving away, serving, helping, solving problems, connecting people, connecting the world? That's the question you got to ask yourself. They are there because they have got that mindset beforehand. They don't care about money. And that is probably the two fundamental aspects that I found has helped me to grow in business. First of all, discover why. Because if you don't have a why, you're going to have so much trouble, so much problems, so many obstacles, so many heartache. Because I get punched in the face 99 times for one little bit of success. One little bit of success. But the 99 times, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And that's the common denominator which put me to ease, where I found that these people, they don't care if there's an obstacle, they embrace it. And please do not over-engineer the current environment you're in. Use your current resources. Stay local, think global.
Welcome back to First Issues as we continue to speak to entrepreneur Etienne Pretorius, one of the many gifted idea sharers from this year's Global Expo Botswana. Mr. Pretorius's project, Bring Change Africa, promotes the use of local methodologies in business, yet he credits internationally acclaimed businessmen such as Richard Branson as being his mentors. He explains this Think Global, Act Local methodology further to us.
Apply local methodology with a global way of thinking. It's very important to understand it, because in Botswana, South Africa, Kenya, wherever you are, wherever Bring Change is launching, is there certain ways you do things. In Botswana, the Botswana people do not bring an American into Botswana and expect them to be successful businessmen here, because it's a different way of doing business. But if a Botswana person has local methodology, local ways of doing things, but he's got a global mindset, then you start having that cross-discipline, and then you have exponential growth in companies. Then you find something like Choppies. Easy as that.
Is it really not about the money for most successful business people? I, for one, have heard that said by many a speaker, but still do not fully understand how that could be.
In South Africa alone, there's 6 billionaires, all right? There's only a few hundred billionaires in the world. Now, most of those people, most of them, the self-mades, let's put it that way. Remember one thing, there's people that inherited, some people that took over companies from, as a responsibility or whatever, but the self-made millionaires, the people that try to change the world, I'm yet to find one of the people that try to change the world that was out there purely to make money. I haven't found one in my circles, the people I've met. I'm sure there are people out there that makes a huge amount of money, that's out there to make the money, but you always find them, they hit a certain level, they hit a certain bracket, and they just can't go further than that. Why? Because ultimately people are your ultimate resource, and the more people you reach and the more people's problems you solve, the bigger your company gets. So if you hit a certain level, if you look at Bill Gates, he gave away Microsoft right in the beginning to the whole world. That's why it's Microsoft. He owns 94% of the market, right? So all those people has a certain mindset of changing things, changing the world. Now, I'm not talking about the guy that's 10 or 15 or 20, 30 million puller strong, because those guys can be out there, but that's not money in the bigger scheme of things. Let's be honest with each other. That's small change. They might be rich in a local area and make money because they want to make money. We're talking about significance here. We're talking about international level of standard of making money. That I just want to clarify that level. Of course, you get people with a lot of money that wants to just make money. Yes, there are, but who are they? Can you name them for me? I'm sure you can't. You hear what I'm saying? And that's just my theories.
Finally, we get to the point that most entrepreneurs watching at home have probably been waiting for. The advent of our guests Bring Change Africa Botswana and the opportunities it presents.
First of all, go to bringchangeafrica.org. It's bringchangeafrica.org, where they can register their businesses online, where we will select a few people, and ultimately we will select a winner that has a business or a concept. It can be a startup, it can be a current running business, it can be someone with an idea that has a lot of potential, that can change a lot of things. And they enter the businesses. It's very simple. And once they've entered it, obviously the winner then competes against Joburg, Pretoria and the Lowveld for the first session. And then next year we're going to take a group of people to Necker Island, and one of these people are going to stand a chance to be selected for being a influencer or someone that's really someone that's breaking ground in the industry, someone that needs to have international exposure, and we take them to Necker Island to meet Sir Richard Branson on his island. So this is an opportunity truly of a lifetime. It's one opportunity, one person, one chance to go out there and put yourself on a global level.
Will it be you in Necker Island with Richard Branson next year? We would be very happy to have played our small part in helping one of our viewers get a leg up in the world of business. We will continue to bring you more exciting conversations from the Global Expo in the weeks to come. Thank you for staying with us thus far as we now turn our attention to the business practices in modern-day Cameroon. Two of the regions in Cameroon are Anglophone, while the rest of the country is Francophone. It is also home to more than 200 different linguistic groups, diversity which has earned the country the nickname Africa in Miniature. The World Bank considers Cameroon a lower middle income country. It has significant natural resources, including oil and gas, high-value timber species, minerals and agricultural products such as coffee, cotton, cocoa, maize and cassava. Oil, however, is Cameroon's main export commodity, accounting for nearly 40% of export earnings. Botswana-based businessman Alan Isaac Achu tells us what it would take to navigate the business environment of his home country, Cameroon.
First of all, you look at the laws when you go into any country. Cameroon has a very rigid business laws that if you are not very, very familiar or very careful, if you're not guided, you might be misled in so many ways. But it is not that so cumbersome, a law, you know. And the first thing you should bear in mind is the bilingual nature of the country, where the language is a barrier on its own. There's French and the English. So you should actually know where you want to go to, which part of Cameroon you want to go and invest, and what are the products you want to invest there. You need some sort of a guidance, you know.
What would you tell me or a friend? What would you advise them then in terms of getting along with Cameroonians when they get there, and to put their best foot forward, really? And what should we expect from the Cameroonian people?
Cameroon is a very, very vibrant, young enterprising economy, whereby there's a lot of competition. So I'll need to know what you want to actually go and do there, because you might meet very stiff competition. Secondly, I will have to ascertain your ability to see if you can cope with the pressure that goes in that environment, because there, a patient dog eats no bone.
If a patient dog eats no bones, then which type of dog does? Which kind of traits or characteristics would best serve me heading to do business in Cameroon? Which type of people get further?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It all depends on to you, what you have in mind, because you don't just get up one day and say you want to do business. You must have it in you. As I was saying, you must first of all assess your ability as a business person. Are you really called? Because business to me is a calling. It is not for any Tom, Dick and Jerry to go do it. It's a calling. You must assess yourself to know whether you are going to fit into the mold. 1, 2, your strengths and weaknesses in whatever you want to go do. Generally in business, if be it here in Botswana, be it in America, be it anywhere in the world. Yes, you have to assess yourself and see if you are capable of doing what you want to do.
Do you have stories to share about doing business in Cameroon? Feel free to share them via text, YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. We have come to the end of our show, but would like to share the winning comment shared with us last week by Bobosu Kokonyane here in Gaborone via Facebook. It reads, I assume it is our responsibility as consumers to make sure the retailers sell South African magazines at the recommended price. If they do not, we can contact the authorities, as Richard Harriman of Consumer Watchdog pointed out. We are the consumers. Without us, there is no business. One can only imagine what your commentary tonight will be. You can have your say even more by taking part in our ongoing Facebook poll. With that, we wish you good night, reminding you that as festive fever continues to rise, make sure to designate a driver or call a cab to avoid drunk driving and keep our roads